So during the recent live stream, I was reached out to by the developer of a game, who has reached out to several content creators within the card gaming sphere. As a reminder for those who know and to help welcome those who don't, I am Styxius. I'm predominantly a Yu-Gi-Oh content creator and an avid gaming fan. I do have a background in information technology for the past 8 years and have earned a bachelor's degree in game art design. Today we're going to be talking about Coryphaeus Champions, which is a card game that is being mentioned to content creators to try and promote to their audiences. The Steam page states an indie card game designed for pro play. Enjoy all cards unlocked and tournaments with great prizes for everyone. Embrace 100% skill-based matchmaking and competition with perfect information. Collect, trade, and sell alt arts plus premium bosses. Let's build the card game dream. Which sounds interesting, but wonder what that's like. There's some things I have concern with the trajectory of what that entails, but we'll touch on that later. For now, let's load up the game. Alright, so we're loading up the game. You guys don't get to see it yet. It hasn't populated on the browser yet. It hasn't fully launched. It has a weird interface. So this here's one over here we're talking about in a moment. Press space, escape. Can't skip this. Nothing. Doesn't do anything. Upon loading the game, the first thing you'll notice is the game loads in a 1920 by 1080 resolution. There's no way to correct this in the settings. We'll show you this soon. As the game loads, you're hit with 2 to 3 video player advertisements that speaking with the developer about. They claim that it's there while the game's loading in the background. It can be skipped once the game is loaded. I've never been able to confirm this, as there are no visual indicators on screen or after the game is finished loading. As demonstrated, clicking on the screen, which he claims to skips it, doesn't appear to ever continue the game forward, nor does escape, space, etc. This is the first quitting point I foresee players experiencing on this journey, as being bombarded with these types of video player advertisements with no indication as to why is really jarring. Speaking of the player character, here's where one of the monetization elements was allocated for. Alongside this, I've noticed that the space to interact with the player model is enormous and can easily be clicked on when hitting background elements. Another issue in a similar vein is the play ranked box. This box extends well past the player character's feet, prompting you to immediately attempt to load a ranked game. In the meantime, however, something you may not have noticed when performing these actions or wasn't present at any point, the game never prompts or offers you for a tutorial for the game. This is a new card game. Another user experience issue that will become apparent is the tutorial is often the bottom right corner of the screen. Amongst the confusion and visual scaling, the first thing the players would want to do is click the top left corner where the menu is. They're going to beeline for that, open it up, and what do they get? Twitch drops at the top, credits, log out, exit, and a drop-down menu for full screen / window mode. No options for specific resolutions, at least the only volume you get doesn't start maxed out, blowing out your eardrums. That's a positive. However, no settings for any other sound settings, which are quite loud by contrast, can be found. The menu won't close without clicking the menu button again. As you'll notice, there's an issue. It's redrawing or reloading the menu every time the background assets are clicked. I've messaged the developer to see if he'll share his blueprints within Unreal, just to make sure to see if I can help them out with correcting this error. The developer has not replied to me at the time of writing this. This majorly makes the game feel like it's been thrown together in a short time period. More on that in the future. While writing this, the developer of Coryphaeus has notified me that this was done on purpose. Well, while we're here, let's take a look at the playmats, since it's the first option that most Western audiences will gravitate towards. Not much can be done in this menu at this time, or in the boss's menu. Without paid currency, there's nothing you can purchase or interact with. Speaking of that, let's have a look at the game's purchase menu, which is nice and large over here on the right. Prices are set at $5, $10, $20, but beyond the 2 areas I showed you and maybe alt arts, this can be used for is hard to say. However, I wonder how many of you know something about this UI. I'll give you 5 seconds. There's no way to leave this menu. In mashing keys, I've learned for some reason hitting tab and space will bring you to see a random page. Not sure why this is happening. It seems like it's trying to move to the less non-menu screen you interacted with. Bringing this attention to the developer, he commented, "Apologies about the missing back button. I've left it hidden by accident in the last update." Developer also commented in reply, "We do have a bug reporting section in our Discord server, and I'm aware of a lot of these things, but again, when we have so little players daily, I basically prioritize inviting more people these days," with a sad expression added. "These are easy fixes, and I'll come around to dealing with them soon." Though, seems his priorities are in attempting to get people to play and give him money for a game that's unstable. I did try to encourage him to seek fixing these issues, as players are more likely to abandon the game and spread more negative information if these issues are not addressed prior to him getting more involved. We talked a fair bit about the user experience and UI elements so far. Let's get onto the game itself. Clicking the play ranked button, the game attempts to, for only about 7 to 9 seconds, to find a match before this menu on the left hand side populates, notifying us that no matches can be found, joining the Discord, play versus the bot, which we will do here in a moment. And what's this? Dev queue. Earn paid currency, beating the developer of the game. Let's check this button out. It opens up your default browser, displaying a post from their subreddit. People asking how to join the queue to play versus the developers. Seems it's just a DM and meet kind of ordeal. Oddly enough, there's no actual in-game queue from what it seems to be thus far. I haven't requested such a match. Well, on to a match versus the bot, which I'll do with an actual example of me playing it. Enjoy. Well, I get to record another one, unfortunately, because I didn't record that. That's great. So, when you click Play Ranked, as we described inside the video thus far, it loads up a menu with a super low resolution arrow, which is seen throughout the game. Even though they have higher resolution arrows, you're just going to see that one frequently. We'll play versus a bot here. Welcome. So, we're going to choose... Oh, doesn't matter. We'll choose Hawkish, because Hawkish is just by far the best one. And we'll grab Rose. Oh, no, you can still choose from the other side, it looks like. Really? No, you can't. No, you can't. Okay, I just want to make sure, but there's no shot that I found that out snap. Alright, so you can just summon a 9-10, just like that, and swing at the boss to try to get it taken care of sooner than later. I mean, yeah, they just steal a monster like that, which that happens. I was attacking me with it. Ooh. Anyway, so we'll go back to Heartbreaker now. And I guess we will just steal a little more power and then deal some damage there. And we'll just kill that monster and attack here. Yep, we'll in turn that attacked. I don't know why it bounced out, but it's not something that's clarified. Alright, so he's got the boss, which is like impressive, you know, he's got the boss in this. Two very powerful things. Except I can just summon this and just take the boss. And I can just take it. And then I can just play the spell and then just one-shot their champion. It has no protection or no inherent gain for risking your champion. It has a cost to use your champion, but it doesn't cost anything for me really to get rid of it. Oh, absorb 9 health from me. Woo, spoopy. So from here, he's got 2 monsters with only 3 health. You literally have a card that just steals everything that's less than 6 health. And then we can just swing with all of them. So, yeah. Like, it's just, the power scaling is absurd. Oh, he stole my boss. Dealt 5 damage. Like, 5 damage is so minuscule compared to a lot of this. Alright, and then we can just... Where's my revive one? We can just revive. Yep, revive them. take the boss back. And then, yeah, we just have, give an ally an extra attack. Yeah, let's go to the dragon, I guess. I guess we, yeah, no, I was really attack, whatever. So let's attack with that. Attack there, attack there, attack there. Can you attack? No, whatever. Oh, they're gone. Oh, they took the boss again.
Congratulations.
Oh.
Win.
Apparently I won. And I stole enough to win. That just kind of emphasizes my point. This is so funny. Something I'll immediately note about the gameplay is there's 2 loops of combat that occur. Summoning, attacking boss, or player. Otherwise, your unit is declared a coward. And the boss, if alive, does affects them. Such as destroying or bouncing them to the deck. You also have access to what appears to be half the card pool, depending on which faction you choose. That's what it seems to be, at least. You have roughly 2 minutes and 30 seconds per turn, without properly scanning over every single card in the game. Sometimes, as a new player, will be crunched into a hasty decision which you won't want to do. There's thankfully a practice mode, but it seems to be made in a separate menu, along with the friendly match tab. I'd like to see those moved over there. The lack of structural deck building or the ability to even have luck favor you in these certain instances will lead to purely a heavy negative feeling on losses. Something that's heavily documented within psychology, which you can see in a few things, is examples of studies that having that form of element as a way to dismiss a player's feeling of loss is a heavy example of what can help keep a player in. And for example, I use Yu-Gi-Oh! As a content creator for that. If you were like, damn, I just drew a brick hand didn't favor me, it helps take the blame purely off of you just suck kind of thing. And in doing so, it can keep a player engaged with the content longer, especially if they're not hyper competitive or anything of that nature. So something that's good to look forward. Something to know in each champion or Coryphae you choose from all have an alternative win condition based on the gimmick. However, Rose seems particularly broken, charming 9 opponents. If you look at the gameplay, this tracking does not properly work. There's often charm effects that do not add to the counter. It was unclear if it's a once per turn or however that works in terms of tracking or per monster. It seems to be occurring when you steal a summon, like a monster from a summon effect triggered by a revival. Reading into what indicates, there's nothing that tells you if it's once per turn, but maybe that's not correct and they just haven't written it anywhere in the game. I've seen for this. I've had to gain charm power. I've had to gain charm power if your opponent charmed enemies when playing versus the AI. So it's not particularly tracking who is doing what. Also, no matter what, if you activate a charm effect, even if you don't actually take it due to space being full, it still prompts the loud audio dialogue to play. There's no attacks or checks. There's no checks missing. There's no checks indicating to see if X Factor even actually happened. If you activate the attack directly option while a removal animation is occurring, the prompt will just go away and you'll have to manually attack as it didn't occur. Players will miss that this didn't happen, and as such, they're trying to trust you as a developer to make sure the buttons are working. Unfortunately, they don't. That's a big problem, they don't. Power scaling of cards in this game vastly differs from nothingness, an example of basic healing, to ultimate healing touch. Or if you look at damage or crowd control, we go from give an ally an extra attack to bounce all aggressive enemies, which most units in this game classify as this, with no inherent cost system to really emphasize the gradual escalation and to help manage power creep. Nothing prevents you from grabbing the strongest and most busted abilities from other archetypes and or decks. About 45% of all playable cards are garbage and have/serve no purpose. This gets further emphasized by the alternative win conditions being tied to every champion you choose. I can understand the champions to try and encourage you to play within your own deck, but reiterating the point, the vast majority of power differences, there's no reason to do this in effective play. To add to the most broken archetype I'd found was the one Heartbreaker one with the Rose Champion, as there's no conditions to stealing every monster in the game, even the opponent's champion. There's no protections of stealing these cards. Also, there's no protection on stealing the bosses. You can just steal it. It has no protection. Using cards like Charlie, Carrie, or Barry makes it a guarantee that you'll end up in the dominant position every time. This is just scraping the iceberg on the issues of gameplay loop within this game. Did I mention when presenting this information to the developer, they stated, and I quote, "The truth is that the bot is disrespecting quite a few rules at the moment. A lot of abilities need to be coded separately / adjusted for the AI player controller. And again, we're focusing on PvP, so I've been neglecting the bot for now. I personally never even played versus bots in other card games." When this is the main functionality that is going to be the introduction players will experience there, it becomes a point where this is just not good enough for majority of games. Potentially, players will find other things just for this alone. One more thing I want to touch on, it's an uber minor issue, but just goes to help emphasize the glaring issues in the fundamental design and thought behind this game. Something simple to showcase if any of you've caught it. Why is the Friends tab and Chat/Forum across from each other? Friendly game being on the screen instead of a separate menu with play rank should be adjusted. The developer of this game wants to focus on bringing new players in, but we cannot funnel players into a game that is half-baked. I just noticed this while editing. There was a daily login rewards. You have to click the window for it to operate. They should just remove this and have it prompt when you log in for the first time once a day to save space and make it more convenient and help incentivize your players, because going the extra step immediately makes them not want to give a shit about it. Some positives to help out on this, to not make it just purely negative. Some of the artwork here is good, assuming that this isn't generated by AI and they made these or commissioned them. The art looks alright and acceptable. There are some adjustments I'd make personally, but overall, they look good, and the only ones that could use a little touch-up is the Coryphaeus cards themselves. Back to the concerns, the main premise of this game is stated within the Steam page beyond pro play, which is, well, put it in quotes, and there's a lower skill ceiling. Back to the concerns, the main premise of this game is stated within the Steam page beyond pro play, which we'll put in quotes as there's a lower skill ceiling in this game, which we'll touch on soon. Is collecting, trading, selling alt arts, premium bosses. As you see here on their page, they're actually hosting a marketplace where RMT is occurring involving this game. The amount of exploitation of players that will occur here is seriously insane. This is going to incentivize people to steal accounts more than is typical, as this service is native to the game. I know everyone's gonna go, I wish I could trade in games and give cards to each other. There's unfortunately a reason why this doesn't occur. It's because people exploit it far more than can be casually taken care of. There's a reason other larger card games haven't adopted this. It's a gateway to RMT and provides a monetary value for people to break in and steal items/cards that get deemed at a higher value. I doubt Coryphaeus Corp has the staffing or individuals on hand ready to protect, assist any of the victims that would be taken advantage of or investigate server security and vulnerabilities, but I don't think that will occur if they are trying to operate with this. I'm going to highlight the main reason this video was made. This developer has claimed this game has been in the works for 7+ years. The developer has stated more than once he feels that these issues represented are easy to fix. Yet the developer's focus isn't on fixing them. The developer is focusing on hustle marketing. As you see in this message, and as I quote, "This is all worth considering, This is all worth considering, but could we try solving the problem of literally offering free money to players and no one batting an eye? That's a real problem, my friend. I can offer the shiniest UI interface nowadays. No one cares. I've reworked it hundreds of times and I regret spending so much time on these little adjustments. I'm happy to continue making whatever adjustments players demand, but I need to see players and see them voicing these issues. For now, their only issues are where are more players? Everything else we can figure out. It's 1 a.m. here where I am. It's been a long day, so I'll be signing off tonight. Time is limited, and I can't promise to address all your concerns, but I'll do what I can given my circumstances. Really nice to meet you. Sorry I'm not the perfect dev. Hope to catch you later. It's not about being the perfect dev. The bigger concern is that you're focusing in on these issues of players. If you ever thought that maybe offering players money and no one's showing up wasn't indicative of the exact same thing you see on like displays for like Hell's Kitchen or Kitchen Nightmare, not Hell's Kitchen, Kitchen Nightmares, where they're like, oh, our issue is we don't have enough customers. It's because your product isn't there. They'll come and help you with the product. You state that social media isn't working and your biggest thing that happens and gets you players is word of mouth, but the biggest thing that you fail to realize is that the word of mouth is only going to be more negative the more people you bring light of this game on without properly addressing these issues that I'm highlighting here. I've shown this game and these issues and things I'm wanting to highlight to numerous people. I'm talking about 5, 6 people just that are close friends of mine, and every single one of them thought these were bugs. The intended refreshing of the background when interacting? Why would you do that? It looks like a bug. It looks like a coding error. It turns people away. The developer doesn't realize if you offer cash prizes in tournaments and more, and people are still ducking this game, it's not the player count. It's not the fact that people aren't interested in earning money as you think. It's that the game isn't there yet, and I'm unwilling to accept a partnership from this organization if their focus is purely on hustle marketing. With a broken cash shop, RMT being promoted, many easy fixes as they quote, being left unhandled, the cash shop back button being left hidden and not fixed since February 18th is absurd. It's likely still not fixed. The game desperately needs to focus on refining these issues. I'm happy to have sent the feedback and helped the team guide them in a way that can help address a lot of these issues. My biggest concern comes from the dev team dev team's objectives on how they want to progress the game, along with suggestions from my experience on how the team can help fix these issues. Let's look at the forums tab. Clicking on the forums tab, it loads a web page in the game client, unlike the dev queue from before. As you'll notice, the earliest forums post is from May 3rd, 2023. 2 years ago, the game's reportedly been in development for 7 years, when the last post was made December 21st of last year, with no replies. I do draw concern from that. I hope they try to utilize that space more with more regular updates and relay information about the game faster than this rate. To wrap this up, I think it will be a good idea to give an idea of how many people are working on this game, to be fair in that manner. Maybe it's a small development team, accredited, that we can give them credit for. Thankfully, they do have credits. Let's have a look. Oh,